Hey everyone, I wanted to talk to you today about why we don't always get the things that we want in life and maybe how to change that situation for the next forthcoming year. Now, whether you're watching this in December or January or July or June, the tips that I'm going to share with you are going to be relevant. So this is not just a New Year's resolution, but if you are looking at it at the beginning of the new year, then obviously that's going to be very helpful as well. But getting on to why is it that we don't have all the things that we want? I'm sure, like me, you have an area in life which could be better. When we look at all of the different areas of life, and I like to sort of break it down into about 10 sections: body, mindset, emotions, relationships, time, money, career, progress, contribution, spirituality. There will be areas where it's not exactly as we want it to be. And why is that? Well, one would think, well, I don't know what it is that I need to do. So maybe it's a lack of knowledge. Or maybe people are saying things like, I don't have the time. I'd love to change things, but I just don't have the time. Or maybe they are saying that I would love to do it, but I can't do it consistently because I'm just not motivated. Maybe they are saying, I want to do these things and to change this part of my life, but I'm just feel stuck. I'm always procrastinating and other things take priority. So there's a whole load of reasons why we don't actually get where we want to with a particular area of life. And that's what I really wanted to talk to you about, because although, yes, it can be down to a lack of knowledge and, not prioritizing and a lack of time and all of that, the truth of the matter is that we can actually change anything that we want, anything. But it does boil down to implementation. And so I would suggest, and actually the evidence suggests as well, that mostly the reason for not having what we want, not getting what we want, not being who we want to be, is down to a lack of implementation. So how do we change that? Because we do need to, because people that implement, they do ultimately get further than those that don't. And you can see that in all walks of life. You can see people who've got better physiques, and yet they probably don't have as good genetics as other people that don't have such great physiques. You will see actors and singers and performers who maybe don't have the top talent, and yet they have gone further in their career than those who really do have astounding talent. You will see people with bigger houses, better cars, more money, and yet they are not the ones who maybe were the most educated, the most intelligent, the most empathetic, but for whatever reason, they've just not managed to achieve the heights of others who have just had their head down and they've just implemented. So it does come down to implementation. So let's have a look at that for a minute. What is this thing that stops us implementing? Well, I think firstly then, let's look at not knowing what it is that we're supposed to do. I mean, obviously we need to do all that visualization bit first to know what it is that we truly want, but I'm going to assume that for the purposes of this video, that you do know what you want. And so I'm not going to talk about the end goal as much. I'm not going to talk about the visualization aspects of it. I'm thinking more about the steps necessary to get there. I'm also not going to be talking in this video about manifestation as well, because we know that we can work on our vibration and how we feel and focus on attracting things to us. And yes, all of those things are relevant, but I'm going to talk today about cold, hard implementation. So what is it that stops us? Well, as I say, firstly, it could be not knowing actually what the steps are. Well, that one we can address. We can address that by looking at who is it that actually has what we have. So you can look in your immediate circle of people that you know, if there is anyone there that has the thing that you want, whether, like I say, whether that's their physique or their mindset or their business, car, money, whatever it is. So we'll look at those first of all and see what it is that they're doing. What is it that they did, or what is it that they're doing to achieve that? Now, if you don't have any immediate point of reference in your circle, then start to go a bit wider. You can go online, you can look at social media, and that's where you can find examples of people that have what you have, that are living the life that you want to live, and start looking at what they do. And they do share it. They share it all over social media. You can read books to find out about business people, what they've actually done, the steps they've taken. So it's really up to us to curate a list of people that have what we want, and then a list of actions that they've taken that we think, yeah, we would like to, we could do those. That seems reasonable and we will be able to do them. Now, don't fall at the first hurdle, because the next step after that is very often we end up convincing ourselves before we've even started. And this is called, a lack of motivation. People say to me, wow, you're so motivated. But of course, I'm not, not all the time. My motivation switches off just like everybody else's. And it's actually been proven that as the day progresses, our brain gets tired. It's hard work to stay motivated all day. We start to utilize all our energy, and it's harder to stay motivated as the day progresses. So it's not just down to this thing called motivation. It's down to knowing what it is that you have to do. And then this next thing, which is not talking yourself out of doing it. Very often people start to have this list, but then this is where procrastination kicks in, because they start to focus on all the reasons why they can't do it. So, and that's not helpful. So let's just take the body, for example. I've heard people say all sorts of things. When we talk about training in the gym, well, the gym's too far. Okay, so work out from home then. Well, once I get home, I'm really not in the mood to do it. How about doing it in the morning? Well, I'm not an early bird. I find it too difficult. I don't have the equipment. On and on. We can all be really, really good at finding excuses. And all we're doing is self-sabotage there. We're actually preventing ourselves from getting to that next step. So noticing the internal dialogue that talks us out of it is a really important step. I've heard the same with nutrition. I don't want to eat all of that protein. I don't enjoy, I'm vegan, so I can't possibly get all of the protein that I need to, or I actually don't like veggies. I don't want to eat all of those veggies, so I don't want to get that fiber. And, I don't like doing steps. I don't like going out in the cold. The weather's too cold. I think I'll start next year, which means we probably only walk, for three months a year in this country, in England. Sleep. Yeah, I'm a night owl. I don't like going to bed early. I'm too busy. I need the time to wind down. On and on it goes. And I hear people just self-sabotaging before they've even started. So if that's you, then just maybe make a note of the things that you're telling yourself, which are stopping you at the first hurdle and stopping you from implementing. So you can change anything, but, firstly, you've got to have this list of things to do. And secondly, you've got to stop doing this self-talk, this negative self-talk that stops you doing it. Now, if you manage to do that, then there's this other hurdle to overcome, which is this hurdle of it takes too long. It's taking too long. I've been doing this now for 3 weeks and I've seen no change. Well, the fact is, if we only give something a tiny window, why would we expect there to be change? And the time is going to pass anyway. So, if someone says to you when they're sort of telling you about their history of what they did to achieve a certain thing, and they tell you that it took them 6 months or it took them 9 months, why would we expect to get those same changes in 2 or 3 or 4 weeks? It is ridiculous, really. And particularly if we're again talking about physique, it's taken so long to get out of shape. Why would we expect to turn it around so quickly? So that's another thing, is to give ourselves time. Time's going to pass anyway, so don't let a few weeks go by. Stop your good habits in their tracks and go back to square one, and further forward. I think the other thing, that the other hurdle there is, and it normally happens at this point when we feel like we've had enough, been doing it for a few weeks and we haven't seen a change, is this whole idea that maybe there's a shortcut, maybe there's this silver bullet that people just have not told us about, this secret tablet. Or I heard a story the other day. I was actually sitting in the hairdressers, and there was a lady next to me, and the hairdresser said, just chit-chatting, she said, "Oh, are you still on the diet now?" And the girl said, "No, it just was too much like hard work. I've just gone on Ozempic. It's so much easier." And I looked at her, and she obviously, she didn't look sort of super fit. She looked like she had some body fat to lose. Quite a lot, to be honest with you. And, I don't want to judge, but what I did think was such a shame that she's not going to feel the psychological benefits of training, of moving her body. She's not going to have the long-term benefits of a lifestyle change, which training, changing your nutrition, eating really well, not confining yourself to only limited amounts of food, but basically learning the right foods to eat for longevity. I just thought, it's such a shame. There is no real shortcut in anything. There really, really isn't. And so again, I think, if we can sort of convince ourselves that these shortcuts don't work in the long term, that's another hurdle to set aside, and that's another thing then that won't trip us up and will won't stop us in our tracks when we're trying to change stuff. So I think the next thing really is having some form of accountability, because if we're trying to do changes on our own, it really, really is difficult. I know myself, when I very first started working in the gym and changing my nutrition and everything, and I did it quite late at the age of 54. Same when I was running a business, and had to change things in my business, change the staff, change the way that I ran the finances, etc. If no one is holding you accountable for those things, and you are the boss, you are the CEO of your life, then it's very, very easy to slip back, because sort of no one cares. Whereas I remember myself, I had a trainer who was always asking me, what were my macros the day before? Did I do the steps? Monitoring my technique when I was training. The same thing in business. I had a mentor from Goldman Sachs, and every single week they would be asking me, have I looked at the capacity? Have I, done this, that, and the other with the finances? So when you know that you're going to be answerable, and when you have someone who you're accountable to, it really helps to keep you on track. So I hope that's helped. With the accountability aspect in mind, I wanted to tell you about our upgraded Best Year Ever program. We are launching it, and if you are watching this in December of 2024, then this is very timely for you, because we are launching this new program. It's an upgraded version of a program that I've done live for the last 3 years, and this one is going to be upgraded. It's going to have a lot more focus actually on all areas of life, not just body. So if you want that accountability, I will take you through over a period of 6 weeks all of the things that I've just mentioned. I will find out from you the area of life that you want to change. I will help you curate a list of actions that are going to get you there. I will help you to notice and remove that internal self-sabotage that stops you actually at the first hurdles. I will encourage you to move past those first few weeks where you sort of believe that it's not working, and everything in your body screams to give up and take a shortcut. I will talk to you about the shortcuts. I will talk to you about maybe the place that they have, and what works and what doesn't. And most of all, I will help to keep you accountable. I will really care about whether you have done the things in the previous week that you said you would. Now, it will run for 6 weeks, and in between times you'll have some stuff to do. And after that, you will get the recordings, and you'll have access, once you sign up for this, to all of the pre-work, all of the previous modules that were created over the last 3 years. So you get a real flavour of all the things that you can start to do. And then we'll go live with this in the middle of January 2025. It will run for 6 weeks, like I said, and you will have opportunity to ask questions live, and then in between the weeks as well. And then, as I said, you will have homework in between, and then you can take the recordings. And I really hope that that will give you the kickstart that you need to change this particular area of life that you want to. If you're looking at this later in the year, if you're looking at this, like I say, any other month of the year, then it will still be available, but it won't be live. It will be available as a recorded program. And of course, depending on when you're looking at it, there will be an appropriate link for you to click on and to get started. So hope that's been helpful today. Excuse the clicking. That's been my dog gnawing at her bone, just so that I could keep her quiet while I was recording this video. And hope everybody is well, and hope this has been helpful, like I said, and would love to have you join the program. And with that, I would say goodbye. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.